Today was day 7 of the Karen Read trial. I'm going to give you my daily recap. I watched every minute of today's testimony almost in real time, which was really exciting. They do a lunch break from 1 to 2, so I was able to get a bunch of work done during that time, but it was a long day. It started out with one leftover police officer on the stand. I don't think anything important happened there. And then we started to meet a lot of John O'Keefe's friends from his inner circle. We were setting the evening before all of the madness happened. So we're being introduced to a lot of his friends that he hung out with on Friday night and establishing like his relationship for the most part with Karen Read. Everybody that came on the stand today said that they were not fighting. They were in good spirits. They didn't really publicly talk about their relationship, but that night there was no tension or animosity. This is really important because the whole prosecution's claim is that they were fighting and she hits him with the car. There was a lot of surveillance video footage from inside the 2 bars that they were at that was introduced today, and that was really interesting to see because you see John O'Keefe and Karen Read displaying a lot of affection. The witnesses even testified to that, and you see what John O'Keefe is wearing. He was wearing not a puffy jacket like what was mentioned that was cut off of him when the police arrived or the EMT arrived. He was wearing like a gray, kind of like lightweight hoodie type of shirt, a backwards hat. He had on a belt, he had on jeans and sneakers, I believe. And so that is really interesting. Where did this black jacket come from? So the first bar that they go to is called CF McCarthy's. It's in like the main area of Canton, which I kind of might take a little drive by eventually to just scope out the scene. And you see the video footage. He's there with 2 other friends. Those 2 friends were on the witness stand today. And you just learn that John O'Keefe was just really a nice guy. Aside from just being a nice person and adopting his niece and nephew, it sounds like he's really lovely to Karen. It was about to be a huge snowstorm that night. And so he moved his cars around logistically in the driveway to make sure that she was able to park in the garage and not get snow all over her car during that storm. So in the CF McCarthy video surveillance, you see them there for a few hours. One of the witnesses testified that they had 6 beers, but I think he meant like collectively between him and John, they each had 3. But that was never really cleared up. They were drinking Bud Light bottles, and Karen Read was drinking in a clear glass, a clear liquid, wasn't sure what it was, but they were speculating that it was probably vodka with like soda or tonic, which really didn't seem that important to me, but we'll get to that. So one of the friends that was out with them at CF McCarthy's, his son is at another friend's house and he's playing hockey outside and he gets hit with a hockey stick and it like knocks his tooth out. So he ends up leaving, which is really interesting because he could have been wrapped up in all of this also. His wife takes the stand and she is a nurse who works the night shift. And she was one of the first people to learn that John was missing because she was up in the middle of the night and Karen Read was calling her, unsure of where John was. We met a few other witnesses when John and Karen left CF McCarthy's. They went across the street to a bar called The Waterfall. We have on the witness stand today too the bartender from The Waterfall who establishes the scene there for us and basically explains that like they do a last call, I think around like 12:45 or something, and they turn the lights on and that's when everybody has to leave. So everybody today, like I said, testified that John O'Keefe and Karen Read were in good spirits. There was no tension, no fighting. You can see physically in the video footage that they were hugging and just like having a fun night out. The video footage from the Waterfall bar is not very good. Honestly, like they're like in the top portion of the screen and very far away. So it was really difficult to see exactly what was going on, but there was an instance that brought a whole new perspective to this. It's Brian Albert and what's his name? Brian Higgins, maybe? And these are 2 people that the defense are claiming are involved in the cover-up, and it's asked, was anybody fighting at the bar? And the witness was like, I don't know. And then they play the video footage and these 2 grown men are sparring and wrestling and like play fighting at the bar. So that was really weird. And then they're hugging and like touching each other's butts. It was just not, it was very interesting. It was weird. John O'Keefe and Karen Read continue to have drinks at all of the bars, but there's nobody that says that they were drunk, which is very interesting as well. The last witness that was on the stand today is a wife of somebody else that was on earlier today, and they have children that are the same age as John O'Keefe, so they become friendly that way. And she doesn't really know her very well, but she's there with Jen McCabe, who is Brian Albert's sister-in-law. Her sister is married to Brian Albert. So at the end of the night when the lights come on, they're trying to figure out where they're going to go. And Jen McCabe mentions to the group collectively, like, hey, we're going to keep the party going. You're all welcome to come back to my sister's house at 34 Fairview Road. And that's when the crew kind of starts to leave. The woman who's on the stand, the pharmacist, says, no, I shut that down. Like, my husband and I, we were going home. And you can see her leave, and she explains that she saw Jen McCabe and Karen Read leave together. Karen Read was not walking out with a drinking glass. She had nothing in her hands. And Jen McCabe said, you're coming with me, like, let's go. This is going to be so fun. I have a surprise for you, something to that effect. Then you see John O'Keefe leave the bar, and it actually ends up that John and Karen go to her car together, and they leave in her car together. So the woman that was on the stand was like, oh, I thought she was leaving with Jen McCabe, but then I physically saw John O'Keefe and Karen Read leave together. So that's where we left it today. Tomorrow's going to be a half day, so it should be nice and easy reporting, but I hope you guys have a good night.